Hello and welcome back to another bit. We are doing Act 4 to 6. Now, Act 4 to 6 is probably the easiest acts in the game, and let me finish. But first off, we talk to the people like every other time when we go up. And for this few acts, you can pretty much run through a lot of them, but the resistances you need is Necro, Void, and Poison. You should also already have your Fire, Void, Bitter, Lightning from the previous chapters. Bitter, Poison, and Necro should have been built in it, but this is where you need to focus on your Necro because, as you can see, that is the main force that you are versed, especially in this act. Now, as you come down here, you want to actually take it slow. I actually cleared out things up there and then came down, but you can actually get bogged down. So between Act 4 and 6, if you are in trouble, take it very slow. And then I say it's the easiest act is one, because you can run through a lot more in this door to door without touching anything. But also, you've got your gear, which you didn't have in the first three acts. You should have some of your resistances up. You can craft stuff with affixes, which you should have picked up a nice little bit. Obviously, you can't just go crazy, but you can do it. And yeah, the actual bosses aren't that difficult, depending on your character, your wet RNG, but you should be fine if you take your time. Get those resistances, add them by crafting if you have to, and it makes a big difference having a good, decent chunk of armor or dodge and resistances. Now this, you go in. This is probably the lull of the campaign. There's not really a high point, considering they're hoping to add up to like 12 chapters or something in the future. This is probably a bit of a low point, so you go through, you play tag with this guy. This guy's not really much trouble, but he can hit you with that beam. You pretty much just run out, tag him, run out, tag him. Depending on your character, you play him at range or you play him, smash him in the face, move, come back. And then once you're done with him, you got to deal with Lizard Breath again. And then you can pretty much tank this guy. Depending on your resistances and armor, you can pretty much just stand in front of him and punch him in the face. And then we go back through the rift. That's the whole point of that. Go to the next section. Now, as I said, you can run pretty much door to door. You don't have to do much as far as to unlock the next areas. So pretty much you run through, you kill a couple of guys to get experience, and you go. Do focus on leveling up when you need to. This is another one. I'll skip through it quickly because you literally run door to door. This is the first area where you want to clear it more because this is where the boss is. And the corridors are all wonky. In the later section, jumped ahead to where the boss is. I'm trying to make it a little quicker this time because there really isn't much happening 4 to 6. So the actual guide part is more take it slowly, get the resistances up, focus on getting the resistances for 7, 8, 9, which you'll need to focus on cold and lightning. Try to get some gear you can either scrap for that or put on for later. That boss, you just stand to the side. He's one of the more useless bosses. Most of it I can either scrap or sell, depending on whether I want money or affixes. This, you go around, you beat up the 3 bosses. Now this next area, in here, we'll get to the boss. I'll show you a little trick you can do. I'm pretty sure it's in here. And maybe one of the other sections, but it's the same deal. Take it slow. Now, the first boss is very close to the door, which is this guy. You just take him out, he's easy. A little tanky, but he's easy. The next guy, you have to go through a army of people. And you want to try not to get surrounded by all those people, obviously. This guy, he can be a bother because he's quite tanky. It is this guy. So you go in, and if there's a shrine, you grab it. Hopefully it's something good for you. Like if you want crits or stunning or whatever. And then come back out and use it. If it's like gold or something, then yeah, sorry. It's not going to help you fight the boss. Unless you need gold to buy something, I guess. And then they're pretty easy. It's just the extra people around. Then you take this guy out and you're done that section of town. This area, you won't go to town very often, so you'll have to actually, if you want to sell things or go to your stash, you will have to actually TP or go waypoint to waypoint. Talk to Snake Lady. Go do any other side quest. Go to do the town stuff. Do whatever. And then continue on. You will end up with a lot because there's not much happening. So you will just go area to area to area. You don't actually need to go back to town a lot in these acts. Now this you just run through like I did. I skipped ahead because that's pretty much what I actually did. So there wasn't much to see. This guy can be annoying. This is where you need some of your poison. He only opens his mouth to attack when you stand near him. Obviously the minions. And pretty much I did that the whole time. If you have a strong enough build, you can pretty much tank most of the damage in front of him. And then just heal when you need to. And that was the Act 4 and 5. Pretty much you just run through, kill the boss. Now Act 6, you need to take it a little slower. There are parts where you can get surrounded, especially some of the side quests you need to do. But yeah. This is where you start feeling either your build is building up in damage or tankiness, or you need to find some more. So if you need to find some more, I'd suggest leveling, because at worst you'll have more levels than required by the area. This you can just run through, grab the shrines and get out the other end, or you can take them out. It's up to you whether you want to do that. These guys can be annoying, but as I said, if you need levels, take it slow, take them all out. But try to find those resistances. Try to get some upgrades for weapons or bases that you can actually craft. But don't be afraid to actually either go do side missions just so you get the XP, so you can level, or go back through everything. If you've just bolted through the last two acts and you're a little weak coming into this area in particular, if you enter here to the end of the act and you're getting beat up, then go back. Or take it very slow and build a level up, but do not be afraid to go backwards. There is no reason to put yourself through pain and anguish of not being able to complete something just purely because you don't want to go back a couple of bits and farm. And another bit where you can just run through. That's why it's a little stop start, because I'm literally just running through these areas. Now there is something to be said for that, because this build does actually fall off. These guys, you just go around, find them, but it's building up, gets to a point, and then falls off because I haven't been able to capitalize on some certain things. The resistances are fine. It's just the damage does not grow based on It's a couple of things I did. Now this, you got to fight the crab guy and the snail again. Check all your stuff, upgrade your things. Take this guy up first. He heals them, so just focus on him. Now if you can't take him out before he turns up, then just keep focusing on him. This guy you take out first, because the snake guy will turn up whilst you're fighting him, but he will interrupt your fighting with him more than vice versa. So you take it out in little guy, crab, snail, in that order. And then you obviously go through the rift. Now, we are entering the next zone, which is the chapter 7. But if you found that fight pretty hard, do not continue. Go back. At least until the start of 6. Rerun chapter 6. And fight the bosses, like, fight everything. And you'll be fine.